Hello, welcome back to More Fun Retro. I'm going to do another ZX Spectrum repair because I like doing them. They're easy and, well, they're sometimes easy. Sometimes I have actually got a guilty pile of Spectrums that have beaten me, believe it or not. It's not a pile. It might be one or two. There might be three. But yeah, I've got a Spectrum here on the bench, ready to pull apart and see what's going on. And what appealed to me is this one is absolutely battered. Look at the state of the faceplate and the keyboard on this. It's got a big dent here right on the N and the M key where someone's stoved that part of the machine in. I'm hoping that it hasn't damaged the board underneath. I wonder if this faceplate will come off. I mean, the faceplate is wrecked, so it's not like I have to be very careful with this. Yeah, it's coming off. Oh, it's a brass tabbed one as well. Someone has stuck it down, but oh, look at that. There's your 80s fuzz if you were looking for it. Oh, the brass tabs are stuck on here. They've come away from the faceplate completely. Oh, that's because I pulled them away. All right, that was my fault. But that, I mean, to be fair, that's not something that is salvageable. That does need replacing. But yeah, I did pull these off. My bad. Let's get that one out. So I just want to lift up this corner of the mat, which is, that's disgusting. So the impact is about here. Oh, look at there's a spill in here. That's not a good sign. It's sticky as well. But the plastic underneath is intact. It survived. It's just the metal that got damaged. Anyway, let's it's horrible. It's sticky and nasty. Let's get it open. I bet it's pristine inside. If you're wondering what this is a barrier to stop me putting my fuzz into the shot. See, if I touch my head against this, you can't see it on the top-down camera, even if I go right out. You just about see the wood, but yeah, it shouldn't be in shot at any point, apart from when I'm looking over here. But yeah, you're just going to have to put up with it over there. But I lose so many pieces of footage where I put my head into the shot, where I'm concentrating on something and I forget. I put my head into the shot and I can't use that. Wow. It's an issue 3B. Ugh. And yeah, it's pristine inside, in really good condition. So we're looking at funky colours. Let's go through the initial checks first. I'm just going to do the resistance checks and the diode checks. And then I'll plug it in. Right, resistance on the voltage regulator first, between ground and the output, and ground and the input. Yeah, that's fine. As long as it's not shorted, and as long as there's no glaringly obvious hole in the voltage regulator, it should be okay. And then this will be the -5 volt line, that's okay. This is the 12 volt line. That's okay, and the 5 volt line, which you can find, yeah, that's okay. All of those are present on all of the lower RAM chips. 12 volt is only used in the lower RAM chips and the LM1889 video. It's not an encoder chip. So we want to go on to diode check, and I'm going to check TR4 and TR5 down here. Your multimeter, if you try and follow along with your own repair, your multimeter may show slightly different readings to this one. So that's with the black lead in the middle and the red lead on the outside, I'm getting nothing. And then red lead in the middle, black lead on the outside, 0.6, 0.6, that's normal. And then black lead, this is TR5 in the middle, red lead on the outside, 0.7, and that'll be 0.7. And then red lead in the middle will be nothing, and then 1 point something. Yeah. TR4 and TR5, the transistors at those positions are okay. As far as I know, they're okay. Now, bench power supply is set to 800 milliamps, and I'm going to plug in my Steam Card Pro as well, which shows me the voltage. Well, if the power rails are present, not what they are. That's important to know. They could be wildly higher, and they will just be brighter. Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Look in here, and the computer's running. Oh, here's the flashy. Yeah, there is something going on there. Oh, a couple of RAM fails. Okay, let's see if the Retroleum Diagnostics agrees with that. Actually, what does it do before I do that? Yeah, this is the internal ROM it's going to boot off of now. So this is what Paul was seeing, the flashing. That's indicating a RAM failure to me, because there's a flash attribute. Well, that's just saying one RAM chip, IC10. That's going to go onto the upper RAM wallets. I can't read that. I think it's IC12 and 15. I might have to do some manual scoping to find out exactly which ones are bad. Oh, we've got one RAM chip that's glowing over here. It's not particularly hot. It's like 10 degrees higher than the other ones, but the thermal camera makes it look. I'll show you. Thermal camera makes it look like it's the surface of the sun. The ULA is a bit warm. The CPU is a bit warm. Everything else looks okay. None of the upper RAM is at different temperatures, just the lower RAM. So I'm going to go back to the original, the Phil Ruston diagnostics, and see if this agrees with itself. Yeah, it does. So that's saying 2 and 7, which is 2 is the third one, which is IC8 and IC13. I think the other one said it was IC10. Yeah, I better check the voltages before I get told off in the comments. That incoming is good, -5 is fine, 12 volts is fine, and 5 volts is fine. IC10 and IC15. So this is saying IC15, I think it's that one, is bad, and IC10 is bad. Okay, I had a quick scope around on the data lines, and they look okay. And that doesn't look perfect, but data lines are just weird on the ZX Spectrum. They just are all a bit all over the place. They're not nice, perfect square waves. That one looks a bit weird. That is IC8, so not one of the ones I'm looking at. So I think I'm looking at, oh yeah, it is 8 and 10, I think. 8 and 13 and 10. So yeah, this one, I'm not sure. I'm tempted to take all 3 of those out. Let me find out which ones are which. Right, so the Phil Ruston Diagnostics is saying, no, this is the Retroleum Diagnostics is saying 13, IC13, and an upper memory RAM, but I don't want to worry about that too much now. And this one, so this is an R for Retroleum, is 2 and 7. So that is also agreeing that 7 is bad, but it's also saying 2, which is IC8, which did look a bit bad. So this is the Phil. I know what I mean. Okay, let's get both of those out. I'll reflow all of this. Nice amount of leg on the other side, and all of the legs are straight. I love working on this type of board, which means it's probably just going to have pads that float away, but to give it every chance of surviving the desoldering process, I'm flowing some fresh leaded solder, which is going to help transfer the heat quickly into the solder joint onto each of these points. I'm sure that the desoldering gun would actually work perfectly well if I just desoldered these, especially these ones. These are looking in nice condition and there's a good amount of solder on each one, but it's a good habit to get into. And just in case, you can't, once you've actually lifted a pad off, you can't undo, well, you can undo the damage by repairing it, but you can't put it back to how it was. I keep making the same mistake here. If I start at the top, the soldering nozzle, desoldering station nozzle, leans against the one below and sucks up that solder as well, which means that the next one doesn't actually work as well because there's not as much solder as there should be on there. So I start at the bottom, which seems to negate that problem altogether. I thought I should empty my desoldering station. That's completely blocked. Just testing to see if it is going to come loose. Just a tiny little bit of pressure there just to see if it will crack loose, but it's not. So I'm going to use some hot air just to free up the last bits of solder that are hanging around. Okay, so that one was IC13 and this one was IC8. Here's my amazing multi-retro DRAM tester that Phil keeps updating all the time. I can't keep up, Phil. You can do auto detect, but I am going to do 4116 and pop that one in there. Failed on row bit 0, address 0. Okay, I failed on address sweep, that one. That's quite interesting. That might be where, that's the one that was getting hot. So maybe an address bit was stuck. And this one's failed as well. On the same thing. That's suspicious. Row bit 0, address 0. Okay, I'll stick a couple of sockets in there and a couple of new chips, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, I found a couple of matching chips, STCs, 4116 2Ns, 8501. So these are actually just, and this is 8507. So these are slightly newer, but that's fine. This isn't a museum piece. Let's just make sure they work. Yep, that's good to see. Perfect. Slightly crusty leg on this one. It doesn't want to go in the socket. That's better. It's a bit straighter. So this isn't going to be fixed yet. It's still got an upper RAM fault at least. I've got a suspicion that there might be some more lower RAM faults as well. And of course I still need to do a composite mod. Right, are you ready? It's a better looking screen. It's not as flashy now. So I wonder if that address 0 is the flash bit that was stuck. Right, so the lower RAM has all passed. That's good. So, and as we suspected, the upper RAM has failed. But now I can at least see the screen and see which chip it is. 15. It was 15, which I think is this one. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, there's 15 there. Okay, well, I left the soldering iron on, of course, so let's get that out. Just literally seconds of heat then. Got that out. No problem at all. Okay, this is not a 4116. This is not even a 4164. It is a TMS 4532 NL4. Oh, these are a bit more rare. Don't see these so often, the NL4s. So 4532 NL4. That's just a completely dead chip. Yep. Yeah, I've got a couple of, in my spares bin here, I've got a couple of 4532 NL3s. NL3, and there's an MT RAM chip here, but I'm not putting that in. There's a 4164 here. Let's see, that should test as a 4532 NL4, which is one side of the chip or something like that. And it should actually test as an NL3 as well, because this hasn't got a faulty half, which is what an NL3 or an NL4532 NL3 is faulty on one half, and a 4532 NL4 is faulty on the other half. So if I then go to 4164, that should just test both halves. Okay, one of these halves is not going to get used. Let's pop a socket in there. Okay, there's a socket. Here's the chip. With very, very scraggly pins. There's a little bit of, might be a bit of debris from a socket that's stuck in there. There we go. It's actually fallen onto the board. Yeah, a bit of leg or something. Extra bit of metal that was stuck to it. It's gone now. If I'd have rammed that straight into the socket, it would have just destroyed that part of the socket. Perfect. Now what we got? I called this the wrong thing earlier. This is the Smith and Alford diagnostics. I do apologise to Masters Smith and Alford. I'm not very good with names. Right, so here we are. The computer is now working fully. At this point, if this was mine, I would recap it. It's an issue 3B. The caps have seen better days. They are working. It's a functional machine. If this was going to be something I was going to use regularly, I'd do two things. I would replace the caps and I'd replace the voltage regulator with a switching regulator, a tracker or similar, and get rid of the heatsink. And then I would also do a DC-DC mod as well, which is, on these, is a bit more complicated and a bit more fiddly. But This is a machine for sale. I have to keep saying this because people come along and say, why don't you recap it? And I say it regularly. These aren't my machines. These are something I'm just getting repaired back to their working condition, and then it's up to whoever buys them to do the final work, to do those extra bits. That's not financially viable for Paul, or, you know, and for me, I don't charge Paul, but I wouldn't do these if I had to do every single bit of, you know, restoration on these before he sold them. It wouldn't be worth it for him or me. The point is to get them working so he can sell it as a working machine. It might fail the first time someone plugs it in which case Paul is happy to take the machine back, provided you haven't put in like the wrong polarity power supply and it's not something you've done willfully to damage the machine. If it's gone faulty naturally, he'll take it back and I'll fix it again. But that's just the state of affairs, and I know some people don't like it, but you're not fixing them and you're not selling them and you're probably not buying them. But if you are, then you're fine. Do the recap yourself. So the next job is to complete the composite mod and to clean up the inside of that connection. The outside actually looks in reasonable condition, so it's quite shiny. That's not a problem, but I was getting a really poor connection on this, and that will be because the inside has gone crusty. And you can just see in there that it doesn't look very nice. So I'm going to give that a scrub. I'm just going to remove that resistor first. Cheapo wick. Is this? Oh, this might be the worst wick I've ever used. This Le Favor wick. It doesn't want to pick up the solder, but it's doing. I mean, the poor job it's doing is enough for what I want it to do here. It's really bad. This is the difference between good wick and bad wick. That is horrible. That's barely getting hot. Oh, there's still a load of solder in there. I'm going to get some better wick. Okay, this is a difference. This is Super Wick by MG Chemicals. And you can just see when I put this on here, you'll see the smoke coming up from this flux burning away. Oh, yeah, there's the flux. There we go. A brass wire brush. Quite like a nano sponge for cleaning around these now, with some contact cleaner. That's all that needs. Right, composite mod. 100 microfarad 15 volt short cap so that I can bend it in a specific way that fits. Oh, I need to take out the wires. Anyway, I bend those up and over the side of the can like that so that it's reversible. Someone can put this back if they want it connected to RF for some weird reason. Make sure that's connected. Last time I did one of these, I soldered that and it wasn't actually connected. I need a proper cable now. And we should get a nice image. Still quite a loose feeling. I might need to nip this up a bit in here. Okay, that's much better. I have to pull it out to make it go bad now, but once it's in all the way, it's working much better. It's not the best socket. You can see it's at a bit of an angle. I think that's because the this part of it is worn out. But there's nothing I can do to bring that back. I could change the modulator, but these are actually not cheap. You have to basically trash a whole Spectrum to salvage one of those. Right, keyboard. Did the keyboard work? So the membrane is intact on this disgusting keyboard. I am curious to see if this works, but that does mean touching it. That's one row out. Why is that? What? That's a bit of a concern. I think this one works. So I'm just going to try it with this. I do have a membrane up there that I can use, actually. Yeah, so there's nothing actually wrong with the computer. It's just that all the keys work. Yep. Okay, so this one, which I'm going to call Monica. I wonder if anyone gets that reference. Is fixed, but that's fixed is a loose term. It's a -6 ULA, so we could put it in that one that I fixed in the last episode, which was this one that has a bad ULA, but everything else is good. And this is an issue 3. This is an issue 3B. We could take this board and put it in here. I think Paul would agree with that. That's composite modded and everything. So let's put this one in the nice case and swap these over. I think this one has a working keyboard. Oh no, I think it does. And this is now spares. All of this bit. Keyboard doesn't want to work. Oh, there's a crack in the membrane. Yeah, it's just starting to go just down there in a few places. You can see it more clearly on that side. It's split right through. Oh well, that's again, that's for Paul to sort out now. So that's this one wrapped up. And this one from the last episode is now wrapped up. That's good. We had, what did we have? We had 3 bad RAM chips, 2 lower RAM and 1 upper RAM. Diagnostics didn't agree on everything, but the good thing about this Steam Card Pro is that you can easily switch between the diagnostics. And it wasn't that they did agree, but one of them only picked up one and the other one picked up both of them at the same time. It's just one of the benefits of having more than one diagnostic tool available, which is really nice on the Commodore 64 because I've got so many different diagnostics now that it's gives you a better chance of finding the problem earlier. Right, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you like what you see, actually, if you really like what you see and you'd like to support my channel, come and see me on Patreon. You can also join the YouTube membership as well. It's a similar thing, similar prices. You get the same benefits pretty much. You'll probably have seen that the members early access videos going up, which I know is a bit frustrating for everybody to see, but I have to work within the framework that YouTube give me, and this is just one of the ways that I can earn a living. So if you'd like to help with that, then come and either join Patreon or YouTube, and you choose, and you can help me that way. Thank you very much for everybody that does support me. You're amazing. God, that was cheesy. I better go.